Yeah, I hated this book with a fiery passion, and I want to talk about it. Okay, like, oh my god, why do I do this to myself, honestly? Like, this book was just so bad, and I just regret my life decisions right now. Hello, Retro Readers, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video, I'm going to be reviewing Cowboy Firefighter Heat by Kim Redford. And oh god, is this book awful. So Cowboy Firefighter Heat is something that I picked up at Walmart in my browsing the bookshelves extravaganza, I guess. I had this plan in my head to make a secret TBR type video where I just read cowboy romances, and I found this book and I was like, oh, Cowboy Firefighter Heat. What the And then I just read the back, which I will read to you guys. She's back and hotter than ever. When country singer Fern Bryant returns to her cabin in Wildcat Hall Park, the last thing she expects to find is Craig Thorne in her home, asleep in her bed. Fern had big dreams, and chasing those dreams required sacrifices. Unfortunately, Craig was a cowboy singer and firefighter she left behind. Much to her surprise, now they're the co-owners of her beloved Wildcat Hall Park. Good thing this cowboy firefighter can handle the sparks. Craig hasn't seen Fern since she left Wildcat Bluff County, and him to sing on a cruise ship. When she storms back into town, the sparks between the two aren't only rekindled, but burn hotter than ever. As long days turn into long nights, Craig is determined to show Fern that she belongs in Wildcat Bluff and in his arms. So, after reading the synopsis, I was like, okay, I need to include this in my cowboy romance secret TBR video. And yeah, this was the first and last cowboy book that I will honestly read ever. It was just that bad, honestly. Just, oh god. Like, I am giving it 1 out of 5 stars, and that is being generous. Like, the characters, there was no chemistry between Fern and Craig, which, who the hell's hot guy's name is Craig, okay? Like, he's supposed to be hot. He's supposed to be, like, cowboy and a firefighter and, like, a bulky guy or something. And, like, Craig? And also, Fern, like, for the girl, like, a plant, Fern, like, just come up with better names, please. Yeah, I hated this book with a fiery passion, and I want to talk about it. Okay, so what happens is that Fern comes home and she learns that Craig still loves her. They used to have a fling, or not a fling, but they were together, you know, and then she broke it off because she wanted to go be like a country singer in a cruise ship. And she wanted to do that, so she left him, and then she comes back, and yeah, they rekindle their relationship, but also she learns that he is a co-owner of her park, I guess, her cabin park, but it isn't really hers. It's so dumb. Like, these other people own it, and then she like, it makes it seem like she owns it, but she doesn't really own it. Yeah, so they're co-owners, technically, not really. And then yeah, they rekindle their relationship, and they're forced to help this town have like a it's like this thing that's called like Wild West Days or something. So there's like, it's in like an old cowboy country town that she lives in, and they kind of reenact the old Wild West days during this time while playing country music. It's this whole thing, and honestly, it's so confusing. But yeah, they're both planning for it, planning for the extravaganza, the event, because they're co-owners and they have to. And then there's also this weird side plot going on where there's two side plots going on. So the first side plot is like, while they're like rekindling their relationship, which doesn't really last very long, it's more insta-lovey, which no chemistry, so I did not care if they were together or not. While that is happening, freaking, they're also trying to find a, like, hall dance studio thing. I don't even freaking know. Like, they were trying to find an old building so they can convert it into something, like a music hall or something. Because one music hall is not enough in this town. And, yeah, then they find like this like old one room schoolhouse that was a fire happened in it, and they don't really go over it. They just found it, and like Fern and Craig wonder what happened, but like it goes nowhere. And then let's see. And then there's another side plot that's going on this whole thing, and it is that Fern has a stalker, but he's not really a stalker, and he's not really that scary, you know? He just sent her roses and fan mail on her cruise ship line when she was performing there, and she got creeped out. And then she's still getting roses and fan mail from him. And then he also somehow started two fires. And then another thing that happens is at the end of the book, where he kidnaps this little girl that everybody likes, but like she literally, her story isn't even that interesting. She's just as a character just in there just so she can get kidnapped. Well, and then yeah, so he kidnaps her and he wants Fern all to himself, and this book is just a mess. Yeah, it makes no sense. They're honestly, it was just so dumb, and I can't believe I finished 345 pages of it. But yeah, it was kind of entertaining a little bit. Yeah, that's all I can say. The writing was just so bad. Honestly, like, Kim Redford, can we get her a author of the year for being such a terrible writer? And like, oh my god, why do I do this to myself, honestly? Like, this book was just so bad, and I just regret my life decisions right now. So now you know, like, a little briefly what happens in this book. I just want to kind of go over it from the best of my knowledge. Okay, so it starts off with her coming home and to her cabin, and then she lays in bed because it's all at night, and she finds Craig there, and he's like, I've been waiting for you. And she was like, bro, what the heck? This is so scary. And all he wants to do the whole time is get in her pants and be in love with her, I guess. I don't know. And she does not want that. She even tells him, like, hey, I don't feel like I can be loved right now. I don't want a relationship. But he was just too pushy. And she was just too willing, so she basically got in a relationship with him to rekindle it. She also learns around this time that her and he are co-owners. And the next day they're walking around and they learn that they are, since they're co-owners, they have to be in charge of the Wild West days, the event I was talking about. And she later that night performs in front of like people at the stupid music hall, and then you learn that she has a stalker because he gives her flowers, and she's really scared of those flowers. And she is just so traumatized that they end up going home, her and Craig. When they're getting ready for bed, there's a fire going on in their basement, and they go and look, and they find out it's possibly the stalker who started the fire. And so a couple pages later, the stalker is like disappeared, and she's still scared. Blah blah blah, things happen. Nothing really too important because I can't remember. Then later in the book, Craig and her want to do a music hall thing, another music hall. So they go hunting for it. They find the schoolhouse, and nothing comes of that. They just find the schoolhouse that was on fire from like 100 years ago, and they're sad because it's a schoolhouse from 100 years ago. And nothing comes of that. They don't learn at all what happened like to the people in the fire. It just doesn't even say anything about that. And then let's see. And then they still are in planning stages of the, whatever you call it, the Wild West days or whatever. And then they go visit her sister's husband's niece, or their niece, and some gross things are said that the author did not possibly mean, maybe. And you just learn that this little girl is like super into a bull. She like loves this bull to death, and so apparently she saved it. I don't know. The reader does not know what happened, like, to have her save him. They're just best friends. And that's all you know. And then later in the book, you also, like, the whole stalker situation is kind of not really escalating. She just keeps on getting flowers, and she's like, I'm so scared. It's flowers and like a love note. Okay, and then and then later, she is brought to Craig's ranch, because remember, not only is he a firefighter, he's also a cowboy and a singer. He has too many hobbies, man, too many jobs. And he's like, yeah, this is my ranch, super cool, let's go have a picnic. And they go have a picnic, they come back, and his barn is on fire. So he goes and he tries to save his horses, which he succeeds at. But I don't know. He like risks his life, and she's like, oh my gosh, he's so hot. And I don't know. They go home, and she wants to bonk him, but then she sees that there is a note and a bouquet of white roses on the fence. So it is clearly the stalker that started the fire. and the note says, I don't know, thinking about you or something like that. And then they go home, and then she gets random texts from her stalker, and he just says, did you like the roses? And I don't know. So dumb. Yeah, and so she's super scared. And then things not really escalate with the stalker. She's just scared the whole time. He doesn't really do anything except for like leave roses or something. And not very many. He just is put in the back burner. And yeah, then Wild West days happen. She is in a reenactment getup after performing her heart out to a crowd of people during Wild West days. And then she's just, living her best life in, like, as a country singer woman. And yeah, then she finds out that her stalker kidnapped the little girl. Remember the little girl, the niece, who's really into that bull? They're best friends. Yeah, she learns that the stalker kidnapped her, and he is holding her for ransom. He's saying, listen, I'm gonna keep this little girl until I get Fern. We'll make an exchange. And Fern does not like that. She's like, you know what, bitch, I'm going to trade. I'm going to give him myself, and so he can let go of this sweet little girl. And yeah, so she does that, and he doesn't let go of the little girl. He's like, nope, you gotta come closer. I'm still keeping this little girl. You gotta come to me. And she's like, just scared, I guess. And then the bull actually ends up seeing that his best friend, the little 8-year-old, is like in danger. And so he is fucking pissed. And he obliterates the stalker. And that's the end of that. Yeah. That's the end of the story. They actually not really. As all these romance books end, there's an epilogue where Fern and Craig get married. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Yay. So in this section, I want to do a little dramatic reading for you guys of all the lovely quotes in this book. So, be warned, it's cringy. Also be warned, there is some parts where there's a sentence in here that's like kind of not graphic, but it makes you think about something that you'd rather not. And I'll show you. Okay. He was a cowboy firefighter, ... and he drank coffee. She was so distracted by the hot cowboy in her bed that she wasn't thinking straight. As a rancher, he managed 1,000-pound plus beasts. As a firefighter, he contained out-of-control fires. As an entertainer, he sang for audiences till his voice gave out. If he couldn't get one woman to love him like he loved her, then he was a sorry excuse for a man. So in this part, Craig, the love interest, he says, I always knew you were a wild thing, but I don't think I completely understood what that meant until you were gone. Wild things can't be caught and held, or they'll make a break for freedom sooner or later. It's in their nature. And then she responds with, I just wanted the cruise gig. We'll make more, ... Music and memories. She went up on tiptoes and placed a soft kiss, almost a secret whisper, on his too full, too sensitive lips. Oh, God. Ugh. Ugh. She followed his example, closing her eyes in ecstasy at the taste of tender, savory meat slathered in Cafe's special barbecue sauce. Good? Oh yeah, she licked her lips, moaning in deep appreciation. If you keep making those sounds, I'll be over this table and licking you for dessert. Oh my God. He was accompanied by his band of cowboys playing fiddle, mandolin, banjo, guitar, accordion, and trap set. Why? Ugh. She smiled. Oh God, okay. She smiled and traced his full lips with the fingertip. If you promise not to snore and stay on your side of the bed, I don't see why we can't share that nice, new, comfy bed. He flicked out his tongue to touch her fingertip. Oh, God. Okay. He wore a t-shirt that revealed a barbed wire tattoo around his bulging right bicep and a rope tattoo around his left. Thanks for coming, Fern said. I regret you had to get called out here so late. Strip for me, cowboy. I want to see that six-pack on display. He grasped the bottom of his t-shirt, jerking it over his head, and tossed it on the floor. He put his hands on his narrow hips where his sweatpants hung low. He stood there, letting her look at what he'd spent a lifetime building as he roped cattle and rode horses. Yeah, he had plenty of muscle, but it was because he needed it to handle a ranch. Oh, God. Alright, and this sentence is the worst one by far because you'll see. Okay, it's nothing to do with, like, sexual things, but here it is. Slade reached down and put an arm around his niece's shoulders, tugging her small frame against his muscular bulk. I'll let that sink in for a little bit. Why, Kim Redford, do you need to freaking say that he's muscular when he's hugging a child and using the word muscular bulk? Like, you clearly thought that was okay to write. Ugh, very uncomfy. Slade stroked Storm's narrow shoulder with his big hand in comfort. Why does his hand need to be described as big as he's stroking his freaking niece's shoulder and his niece is 8 years old? Like, how does that make sense? Ugh. Out here in the country, danger is around us all the time. Poisonous snakes, coyote packs, poachers, cattle rustlers. We'd be fools if we didn't know how to protect ourselves and what belongs to us. So you're gonna go shoot a snake? What? That doesn't make sense. Like, the snake is just minding its own business. You probably stepped on it and it was like, oh shit, danger. Why would you shoot it? Okay. She saw a ball cap display. Cowboys tended to wear colorful caps when they weren't wearing hats. She saw Craig right away since he'd pulled up in front. He leaned casually back against the passenger door, one ankle casually crossed over the other, looking like a hunk and a half, with his broad shoulders, narrow hips, and long legs, all cowboy, all man. Ugh. She whirled around, hope springing alive in her heart. She'd never been so glad to see a sight in her life as the bright red rig with sirens wailing rocket up. With sirens wailing rocket up the road towards her. What? She whirled around, hope springing alive in her heart. She'd never been so glad to see a sight in her life as the bright red rig with siren wailing rocket up the road towards her. The sentence makes 0 sense. It's my fault. Barn, you, horses, all my fault. I never dreamed he would escalate this far. I didn't even know he knew about you in the ranch. Why is she sorry? Like, it's the stalker's fault? Like, he set the freaking ranch on fire? She was just there. Fern, we can either let this tear us apart, or we can use it to draw us closer together. She caught her breath at his words, spoken in a raspy tone. Kidnapping? Do you mean like those cattle thieves snatched Fernando? Who doesn't know what frickin' kidnapping is, okay? Like, who is this dumb person? Oh god, this is such a bad paragraph. Okay. Sunlight was blocked by a tall, broad-shouldered figure who thrust open both doors at once and walked into the saloon. With narrowed eyes, he looked around, obviously searching for one person and one person only. He could easily have passed for an old-time gunslinger, or maybe a sheriff hunting for somebody. She felt her breath catch in her throat. She knew that form only too well. Craig had found her before she had a chance to alert him. Somebody, maybe the sheriff, had called him and explained the stalker situation. He didn't look happy. In fact, he looked downright mad. She sat up a little straighter, readying an explanation. When he saw her, he stalked straight through the saloon, boots beating an angry staccato as he narrowed the gap between them. Why didn't you let me know? He spoke in a voice still rough from smoke inhalation as he came to a stop in front of her. Yeah, this book was terrible. I highly don't recommend it. Please don't read it. It's so bad. And, unless you want to read it, but please don't. It's just so terrible. Like, honestly, just so, oh god, please don't. Please don't read it. I'm performing a solid for you. I'm doing you a favor by telling you, do not read this book. Watch my review instead. Anyways, yeah, so I actually ended up annotating this book, and I really don't feel like erasing everything. So I'm going to be writing a little note to the next person who owns this, and I'm going to be telling them that this book is bad, but if they really want to read it, they can. And I'm going to tell them that I annotated it, and I have a YouTube channel. So, if you are that lucky person who got this book, I'm sorry for both annotating it if it's your favorite book, or, I don't know. I'm just sorry. But yeah, thanks for possibly checking out this video. I appreciate that. Anyways, yeah, so that was this book. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like this channel, consider subscribing. If you want to, comment down below if you are that person who got this book at the thrift store. Please do so. Let me know if you did enjoy this book or hated it like me. Please just let me know. Comment down below your thoughts and opinions. I honestly am so curious. And yeah, if anybody else have read this book, please let me know, or just comment down below, whatever. And yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have a good day. Bye.